The AU Dispute Resolution Policy, or the AUDRP, commenced in 2002 and provides a quicker and cheaper alternative to litigation for resolving domain name disputes. To succeed under the AUDRP, a complainant must prove A. The domain name is identical or confusingly similar to a name, trademark, or service mark in which the complainant has rights. B. The registrant has no rights or legitimate interests in respect to the domain name. And C. The domain name has been registered or subsequently used in bad faith. The focus of this video will be on the rights or legitimate interests test. A respondent will be taken to have demonstrated a right or legitimate interest where it is established that A. Prior to notice of the dispute, the respondent used the domain name in connection with an offering of goods or services. B. The respondent was commonly known by the domain name. And C. The respondent made legitimate non-commercial use of the domain name without an intent to gain a commercial advantage, divert consumers, or disrupt or tarnish the business of a competitor. The case of Facebook Inc. and Calverse Pty Ltd. provides a useful practical example of what must be shown to establish that a respondent has a right or legitimate interest in a domain name. In that case, the respondent was the owner of a New South Wales business named Facebook. The domain name was registered by a related entity and was transferred to the respondent in October 2007. The panel concluded that the respondent failed to demonstrate that it had any rights or legitimate interests in respect to the domain name. Let's briefly consider the reasons for the panel's finding. The panel was not satisfied that the respondent had adduced sufficient evidence which established that it was commonly known by the domain name. The panel noted that the respondent had no trademark or service rights in respect of the domain name and noted that there were no listings for a business called Facebook in the Yellow Pages or White Pages. Conversely, Facebook's website, www.facebook.com, was the 6th most trafficked website in Australia and the 8th most trafficked website globally. In finding that the respondent had no legitimate use of the domain name, the panel noted that A. The domain name was identical to Facebook's trademarks, which were distinctive and well known internationally. The panel held that it was inconceivable that the registrant did not know of Facebook's fame and was not attempting to trade off this fame. B. The respondent had never offered any goods or services under the name Facebook. The panel held that the name Facebook had no real value to the respondent other than to generate traffic to its website. And C. There was a high likelihood that the use of the trademark Facebook would create internet user confusion and was a deliberate attempt to attract internet users to the respondent's website for commercial gain. The panel remarked that it was difficult to conceive of a plausible circumstance in which the respondent could have demonstrated a legitimate use of the domain name. This was particularly the case given Facebook's wide reputation, of which the respondent would have been aware when it acquired the domain name, and the respondent's apparent intention to divert Facebook's users to its own website for commercial gain. The panel held that the respondent had used the domain name in bad faith and ordered that the domain name be transferred to Facebook.